Your home theater system may include many devices. Each device comes with its own remote control. Are you with me so far? Okay, good. So, each remote control is custom tailored by the manufacturer to control a specific device. And sometimes, when those devices are made from the same manufacturer, those remotes are sort of intercompatible with each other. But still, they're custom tailored to fit one device. One size fits one. One remote fits one. That's what I meant to say. Haha. So, what if you're like me and you want convenience? So you replace these 4 remotes with one remote. Well, because all of your devices are made from 4 different, or in my case, 3 different manufacturers, I have to pick one remote that works best with one of those manufacturers, so I picked Sony. But Philips, Samsung, RCA, Magnavox, which is Philips, they all make their own version of the universal remote. And then there's the old one-for-all remotes, which I don't even know if they're still in business. But anyway, so what we have here is a remote that can serve the function of all 4 of these remotes, but doesn't really do either function perfectly. You know, there's limitations, and there's a lot of unused buttons, and there's a lot of compatibility issues. For example, when I change the source on my television set, it comes up as a menu that you have to scroll through, and then select OK to select an item. This remote doesn't support that, so I have to keep hitting the source button like 19 times before I finally find the device that I want, and then I have to hit the side arrow key, which sort of gets the menu to go away, but it's not how it was intended to work. There's other issues, like I can't select the audio settings on my home theater box with this universal remote. Even though it's a Sony remote, it's not custom tailored for a a stereo receiver. So if I want to change the, for example, the input on my home theater receiver, I can't use this remote because it doesn't offer single button source selection on Sony products. So I have to dig out my Sony remote. Then I have to select one. Now, because these buttons aren't labeled correctly, like for example, Video 1 is actually my cable box. Video 2 is my Nintendo NES. DVD is my home theater PC. MD tape is my Nintendo GameCube. So I have to remember which one does what. And it's like, wish there was an easier way. Now, of course, this is completely a first world problem. You know, I got all this technology and I don't know what to do with it all, I guess. This is not a problem that is a real problem. I can live without it. I can walk up and turn the damn button myself. But a lot of times I end up going, you know, whenever I watch, you know, TV or a movie, I just lay on my couch and I usually end up falling asleep on the couch. That's just, you know, a habit I've gotten into. I use it as a way to unwind after work, not as a means of actual, you know, living. So, like some people, they live in front of their TVs. I'm not one of those people. So, what does this all mean? Is there a solution for my conundrum? There absolutely is, and there has been for about 15 years. Let's talk about the solution. About 15 years ago, Philips came out with this product here. This is the TS-1000 remote control. This was designed to solve all of those remote control fiascos that home theater builders were starting to come up, or starting to hit when they were building up their massive home theater systems. You know, with their and a lot of these devices that were used and are still used to this day in a fully featured home theater system have very complex remote controls that do a complex variety of functions. And watching television in this day and age is no longer a matter of picking up the TV remote, turning it on, and selecting the channel and volume you want. Because now we have cable boxes, we have stereo receivers. Almost every flat panel TV made today requires a separate audio output device because the speakers are so terrible. You've got Blu-ray players, you've got game consoles, you've got you know, all sorts of devices that can't be controlled with just one remote. Not fully, anyway. So this product solved that problem by allowing you complete control over the number of buttons, the function of each button, and even the font that shows up on the button. You can change it to do anything you want. I mean, what commercially produced remote that you can buy at Best Buy has a fuck you button? Not one. Find me one remote that I can go out and buy that has a fuck you button. I challenge you. One of the great things about this remote control is those little weird functions that my plasma TV has that are not covered by a universal remote and would necessitate me digging out the original remote to use. One of those functions is actually the picture size button. So if I need to change, or even the full menu controls. So I have my tools, menu, info, and I've got a picture size, picture mode, and closed caption, plus these 4 little ABCD buttons, which are common on many devices today. My universal remote doesn't have those. Well, actually, it has the ABCD buttons, but they're listed as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, no, it does have them. And those are used for menu controls. Usually when you're, dealing with internet connectivity type solutions. But this is certainly used on my Blu-ray player. These 4 buttons. So what does it all mean? Well, all I have to do is pick up the remote that I want to virtualize and program it into this device. And I did this using the included 9-pin serial cable and the software, which was never included in the box. But the software can be downloaded off the internet. I downloaded an older version that's compatible with Windows 98, and I did all of my menu programming, remote control code learning, and all of those little functions on a nice big massive 13-inch laptop display. It was so good. It might have been a 12-inch, but anyway, I think it's like a 14. Doesn't matter. But I got it done, and it was easy to do. It was a little time consuming, but once I got everything set up and tested, it was like Jesus bashed into my house and said, "Here, take this fucking remote. It'll solve all your problems." Can you tell I'm not exactly a religious man? Is it obvious? Because it should be. Anyway, that's how it works. And the great thing is, because these devices are so old, I paid $5 for this one. In the original box with the paperwork, with the... So $5 is all I paid for this at a thrift shop. But if you go online, you can find these older remotes. This is like, I think this is the first one they made, and they got it right the first time. But there are newer versions out there. Some of them have color screens, but they're all cheap. They're all dirt cheap, and that is the clear takeaway here. If you buy one of these older black and white models, it can run off AA batteries, or it can run off a rechargeable battery pack. Now, the battery pack is actually, it was a separate accessory. It was like a charging cradle, and it would sit on top of that cradle and charge the internal battery packs. But this remote doesn't have that option, or it was never, added to it. But you can actually, this is the greatest thing too, because a lot of times when you're buying older electronics like this, if they do have rechargeable battery packs, now you have to deal with, can I still get the battery packs can I still get it, serviced? Or if the batteries need to be replaced, can I still do that? If you buy this model here with the cradle, the battery pack that comes with it is nothing more than a bunch of 4 AA battery cells that are sealed together in shrink wrap. And you can just make your own battery pack. It couldn't be simpler. And if you decide to use one of these without the rechargeable docking station, you can always use rechargeable batteries or lithium batteries that should last longer than the stated 6-month lifespan. But it is so cheap. I think the prices I saw on eBay for this model were anywhere from $5 to about $40. No, more like $30. They're still very cheap. I'm including shipping too here. And programmability is, well, you're going to learn how to do it in just a few seconds. Because I did everything on camera. I show how to not only set up a device, but add a button, program the button with the existing remote. Now this is the caveat here. If you do not have an existing remote, and let's say you buy a TV used, or you get one from the trash, like many people do that I know, and there's no remote included, that's a bit of an issue. If that remote included special functions that are not part of a typical universal remote, then you're shit out of luck. For example, on my the classic example right here, and this is pretty common too, but on audio receivers, oftentimes the remotes get lost. And those remotes do a lot of things. In this case, it also controls the Sony 5-disc DVD changer. That was actually originally included with my unit, but I got rid of it a long time ago. But what it does is it has a lot of different functions, like the audio selection. Why did I just mute it? I muted it. How did I do that? Anyway, where is that mute button? There it is. Okay, good. You can change the audio type. What am I trying to say? The type of surround sound that it can produce, like 2-channel, AFD, movie music, Dolby Pro Logic 2, blah blah blah. But it does all that, and you can't do that with the universal, unfortunately. Unless you buy one of the expensive ones that cost $90 and it has all those functions built in. So if you didn't have this remote, you wouldn't be able to program buttons to do these certain special functions. Because how this remote is programmed is not by typing in a bunch of codes. It's by pressing a button and telling it to learn the function of that button, and then holding up the old remote and then pressing whatever function you want it to do. It decodes the infrared light, which is actually encoded in hexadecimal code, and then it mimics that function. It's like a parakeet. It's like it just repeats whatever you tell it to do. So I guess that's the long and drawn out point I'm trying to make. If you don't have an existing remote, you better get one, because you're going to lose functionality. You're going to lose the flexibility that this system can offer. It does one other thing too, which is very important. And as a matter of fact, the Xfinity remote, which is over here, kind of has a similar function. It's called macro. Now this remote has a built-in macro function that does one thing. It cycles between all the functions to turn them all on and off at the same time. When I press all on, first it turns on auxiliary, then it turns on TV, then the cable box. Same thing if I press it again, turns them back off. This device takes that and brings it to the next level. I haven't programmed any macros in yet, but I'll tell you what they do. So let's say I want to watch cable television, which as a millennial I simply don't do. But if I did, all I would have to do is program a button that says watch cable TV. And here's what it's going to do. It's going to first turn on the cable box. Then it's going to turn on the TV. Then it's going to turn on the receiver. Then it's going to change the receiver's input to cable. So only thing I have to worry about now is changing the input on the television set, which it won't do because the TV doesn't support single button input selection. It actually comes up with a menu, and you have to scroll through it and select the device you want. But that's what it can do. It can even change volume. You can set it to lower the volume. Let's say you want it to press the volume key 37 times to bring it all the way down to 0. So I could have a volume all down, and I just press that one button, and it'll lower the volume as long as it's in the line of sight of the device. If I wanted to change it to home theater, I just create a second button that says HTPC. I press HTPC, it changes the input on the receiver to the HTPC box, and then it turns the TV on. These are all things you can do with this remote. So stay tuned, and we're going to watch the entire process of programming this remote and just how freaking awesome it is. Now, you always have the option of buying a brand new one. The new ones are much lighter, they're thinner, they have longer battery life, but they cost $400. So, $400 for the new, shiny, bright, lightweight color screen, or $5 for the old one. I'll take the old one over the new one any day. Well, I've just installed the software on one of my appropriate laptops. This is the ThinkPad 390, the Mercedes-Benz of laptops, running Windows 98 First Edition. Yeah, alright. Alright, so we got Pronto Edit 4, which dates back to about 2002. Pronto Edit is the software, and I forgot the cable. Okay. Alright. See what we got here. Pronto Edit 4. Alright. I almost want to put money on this. Okay. Who wants to bet me? No, I'm just kidding. Now we're going to have an error come up as the first thing. Right? Come on. TS-1000. This shows all the remotes that it's compatible with. You've got the European color RU970, the black and white RU940 and 890, and the USA color TSU6000, and the black and white 1000 and 2000. Okay, so let me re-angle the screen here. This shows our list of devices. We need to communicate to the device. So how do we do that? Upload from RC device. Probably have to set the COM port number. No, wait, maybe it's doing it. It doesn't show anything on script. There we go. It doesn't show anything on screen, so. You know, for an old junky penny, it's hidden. Okay, so we got some hidden screens. Tools, run emulator. So here's our emulator. We need to calibrate it. So this is basically the emulator for this device. It's built right in. And it shows what we have for a configuration. So what we need to do now is, okay, status, power, mute. Huh, neat. Import, export, open configuration, upload from device. Let's do a new configuration. No, let's not save any changes. So we're going to add some devices. Okay. I've got a TV, a receiver, a Blu-ray player, and eventually I'll add in an infrared computer controller as well. So we've got those 3 devices. Is there anything else? Cable box, a VCR. Okay. We're going to rename these devices. TV. Blu-ray. Sorry for the camera work. I would bring out my tripod, but unfortunately I don't want to walk down the stairs again to get a tripod, because, you know. Let's see, what do we got? The Blu-ray, TV, receiver. Oops. Actually, I think it's receiver E before I. That I before E rule is bullshit, man. Total bullshit. And we've got the Blu-ray, receiver, VCR. And sorry for the camera. What was the 4th device I had? The 5th, I mean. I didn't think I had a 5th device. So we're going to just go ahead and remove that. Cable box. Yes. Rename device. Cable. I'm going to call it Cabletown USA as a throwback. No. You just keep it simple. Comcast. Alright, so got my devices. Properties. So you can control the hard keys. I'm not going to be turning those on for the TV, because the TV is mostly controlled through the cable box and through other devices. So for that, let's see. You can even make it beep if you press certain buttons. So I gotta get intimate with this control panel and just try to get some stuff set up, and then we're gonna go through it after. So one of the great things about this software is that I can create a virtual version of the original remote control, duplicating even the key layouts. So for example, what I'm doing right now is I've created a menu that duplicates this right here, which is kind of difficult. A lot of menu or remotes don't quite have that ability, especially the physical button kind, like this one. So I can create my tools menu. It doesn't quite fit there, but we'll work on that. info. F2 to rename, return. We're going to give that a different, let's see. You could probably do a symbol. There could be a return symbol here somewhere. I'll just call it RTN. And exit. And there we have this menu recreated. Now in the learning phase, it's going to have me press each button in sequence so that I can remember what each button does. Isn't technology great? So basically we've recreated the three basic major parts of the remote that have to do with TV function. We have our numeric keypad right there. We have our system menu functions and whatnot over here. We're missing the menu button. I'm going to have to make some changes there. So we're missing menu, which I use all the time. We've got our special functions down here, the A, B, C, D, sleep, picture mode, closed caption, and etc. So that's all been recreated. As for power and volume and mute, those are hard-coded buttons which will remain physically there. So all we need to do is set the scrolling order in which these are to appear. Okay, so we want that one on top, that one on bottom. This one should be up. So this is all in the right order. I need to add a menu button to our second control panel so that it opens up the menu. And I can do that by going into the Tools Gallery, and we'll just find the smallest button and we'll just stick it over there. And no, I don't know, that's not going to be a good place for it. I'll have to add a button. No, it's over there. Get out of there. Delete. Okay, good. So yeah, I've got to work on that. I'm not sure where that menu button is going to go. Maybe I'll move all these down like that. Make them easier, and that'll make it easier to use on that touchscreen interface, I assume, as well. So it doesn't give me a lot of room to work there. Maybe I can just drag these down just a wee bit more. Yeah. Oh, there we go. I'll put the OK button over here. Yeah. And I'll put the menu button over here. And I can always change the shape of these buttons if they don't really work for me. And I can do some precision movement with my... Okay, there we go. Does that work? I think it does. Put the Tools button over there. Okay, so it's not exactly the proper... I'm gonna redo this entire section right now. Now let me show you how easy it is to program this remote using your infrared remote, your old one. If you don't have a remote, God help you, you could actually use a universal remote that has the code stored in it, like this one. But I'm going to be using the original remotes for this, and let's just see what happens. Okay, so I just did the power button. All I got to do is click on my next button, double click, set IR, and learn IR, and we're on the source button, and it learns it just like that. Now before we get too deep into this, I want to transfer the program over to my TV, and I'm going to program the first menu and just see if it works. So let's do a set IR, learn IR. This is menu up. Got it. And we're going to do menu down. I'm setting the first menu on my TV to mimic my actual behavior, because the first thing I do is change the source to whatever I'm doing. Eventually I'll get a new receiver that includes HDMI switching capabilities, and I won't need that anymore. But that'll come eventually. And the good thing about this is I can now save this configuration with the codes already learned. And if the remote blows up, I can buy another one and just transfer it over to the new one. Oops, I didn't mean to rename it. I meant to learn. I mean, this is just, for 2002, this is so cool. Hell, 1999. This is cool for 2002 even. And I'm using old technology to do it. I mean, we've got this, you know, 15-year-old laptop doing all my configuration for me and saving it. So, you know, it's what it's all about, you know. Using the technology that costs the least amount of money. Okay, so we've captured everything. Now we've got to write this program over to the new remote. I've tested it with my demo unit right there, and it seems to work okay. So let's save configuration and export configuration, or download to RC device. There we go. Generating RC device configuration, and now it'll transfer it over the serial cable to the remote, and then we're going to go test it out. I can't wait. So one of the first things that I noticed is it actually worked. It transferred the information straight to the device, and the menu that I built myself shows up exactly as I built it. One of the things that I've noticed about this remote is it only shows devices that have been programmed, or menus that have been programmed. I didn't do the learning for the other menus, so it didn't bother exporting them, but here we go. Hey, it worked. It worked. I have nothing turned on, but that's okay. Source. Come on. Source menu's not working. Okay, so we're close, but no cigar. I can turn it on and off, but I can't select the source. What about the channel? Volume. No, that's not I think I turned those off. Okay, well, we're getting there. We just need to go back and do some more configuration. But it turns it on and off. I mean, you know, we'll just have to kind of relearn some of those codes. Maybe that didn't work out so well. Figured it out. I ended up reprogramming the source button using the remote and the device itself. It actually worked, and I was able to go through the sources. Couldn't select one because there's no OK button. So you gotta think logically. So we need to add a new button to that menu, and we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to just plug my device back in. You know, the thing is, for $400, this sucker had to work, and they made sure it did. And they did a fine job, because it works exactly as it's supposed to. And it's absolutely future-proof. That's the cool thing about it. And you can buy these used for next to nothing. And in my case, I paid $5. But it is so future-proof. Any remote ever made, even as long as you have the remote. If you don't have a remote, well, you're shit out of luck. But we're going to take the source button out, and we're going to replace it with two smaller buttons. That way they all fit. And I don't have to compromise my interface. I'm going to put... Actually, let's do some bigger buttons. Let's do these two. That way I can fit source and OK. Let's do the bigger one there. And you can even make it look just like your original remote, you know. So let's do the F2. There we go. Now I'm going to just program these. Set IR, learn IR. Good. I might have hit the wrong button when I did the first one. This is so much easier. So much easier to deal with when you have when you're using a computer to get this done, so it just makes it that much more user-friendly. Alright, well I'm going to go ahead and start building menus for my other devices and learning the commands, so we'll catch you back in a couple minutes. And if anyone is the least bit curious, this is the code that is transmitted through infrared pulses when you press the number 4 key on a Samsung television remote control. Pretty cool, huh? Is that hex code? Either way, it's cool. So after all that work, I think we're good to go. I've gone through all of my devices. I've programmed everything I wanted to do. I haven't set any macros up yet. We'll get to there eventually. But my TV, my Blu-ray, cable box, everything is in there. I've saved my configuration. Now let's see what it does. Unplug the umbilical cord. Let's take a look at the main menu. Here we go. I have 4 primary devices. I'll add the VCR later. Now each of these 4 buttons will turn the device on or off. So here we go. I want the TV on. Good. I want the cable box or the receiver on. But here we go. And the Blu-ray player. I'll turn that on too. That works. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my device list. I need to change the input on the television to my home theater box. So we're going to go to Source. Brings up the Source menu, and I'm going to scroll down. This function never worked well on this TV, believe it or not. It was always a pain in the ass. So it's actually, see, when I switch the input device on a Samsung TV, which is connected to a Samsung Blu-ray player, oh, what a pain in the ass. Just turn the damn thing off. This is actually not the remote's fault. This is just the way Samsung set everything up on their devices. So, yeah, stop it. It keeps wanting to hit OK. There we go. HDMI 2 should be my home theater box, which is not currently turned on. So let's do that. That's why it's not seeing it. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn my Blu-ray player off. Go back to the home screen. That's going to shut that off. Now let's go to the receiver menu. Select it from the device list. There we go. I'm going to set my input to home theater box. Oh, that's not set up right. Okay, we'll fix that. Cable should be right. Yeah, NES, Blu-ray is right. GameCube is home theater. Okay, I got those two backwards. It's an easy fix. CD and tuner. Okay. I'll have to switch that around. Easy mistake. Now I have other menus for the home theater box. If I select those, I can change it to a... Damn it. Broke it. Just like that. Did I really? No, it's restarting. Okay. Let's do this on the couch where it can't fall and break. Alright. So home theater box is firing up right now, so we've got to switch the TV over to the home theater box. Good. Down. There we go. And that should be coming up. Good. Now we're going to go back to our cable box. Receiver. I'm going to switch the input to home theater. Good. I wanted to see what the so 2-channel stereo, AFD, and I can hit it repeatedly and it just changes it to whichever mode I want. Dolby Pro Logic works. Oh yeah, I programmed the side buttons so that the volume control responds to the, yep, it does, okay. It only controls the home theater box. The volume down works. Volume up will have to be reprogrammed, it looks like. No, it's not working. This thing's hard to... Okay, enough of that. Alright. So volume control needs a little bit of work. I'm having a hard time getting that to... Let me close this door. I'm also gonna I'm gonna grab the remote and reprogram the volume. I don't think it's right. Yeah, I'm gonna reprogram that. Okay. Mute works good. Can't really do this one-handed. It's too big and too heavy. Luckily, it hasn't broken. Because really, all the time I put into that, I would be so pissed. Monday, 11:56 p.m. is not correct. We'll have to change the date and time. That's all done through the menu on the device. So let's take a look at that. Because when I dropped it, the batteries were disconnected, and I reset it a few times while I was programming it. So, but this is going to be cool because I can control everything much easier than with my one-for-all remotes, which just suck. I'm going to do a relearn on the volume. So volume up. Good. I'm using this remote here and volume down. Good. Okay. Now we'll get it out of learn mode and use. Just like that. All fixed. Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Now what else did I screw up? I have the input selects on the... Oops, I just turned the cable box. Oh yeah, this thing's pretty powerful too. I love it, man. Let's go into the menu. To get into the system menu from the device, you have to hold down the button on the top here, this little... There we go. This is how we set the light timeout. I'm going to increase it to like 10 seconds. Same with the button light. And we're going to change the time. It is actually, I'm going to call it 12 o'clock. Actually, that isn't too far off. Okay. The day is incorrect. It is actually Friday. For another 2 minutes, and then it's Saturday. What else we got here? Calibrate is something we're not going to mess with. Revert will reset it to the factory defaults. This does have an ambient light sensor to adjust the backlight. And I believe that sensor is right here. Now, I don't know how that works, but I think it automatically... See, the LCD shuts off too quickly. It's like 10 seconds and it's off. I'm going to increase that. I'll be using some better quality batteries in this, so I'm not that worried about the... See, 10 seconds off. All right, let's fix that. 85% memory free. You know how many devices you can control with this thing? It is insane. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. LCD. We're going to leave it on for like 30 seconds, okay? I don't want it shutting off like instantaneously. That really pisses me off. Alright. Good. Get it out of setup mode. And I'm going to grab the other remote and I'm going to switch those inputs around. But there you go, the TS-1000 What a great little device. And it's just, for $5, it's the best $5 I've ever spent. Really. I mean, it's a quality device. I just dropped it twice and it didn't break. That's got to tell you something right there. And it just does what I need it to do. I can just shut things off. Done, done, done. It's now 12 o'clock. Thanks for watching. One of the downfalls of this remote is it's run by software, which can sometimes crash, and that's what it just did. I was trying to change the channel and it crashed. Those remotes don't do that, typically. But, you know, you give up a little bit of reliability for a lot of convenience, I guess. That's probably the takeaway here. What I was trying to do is cycle through the menu here. The buttons are too crammed. I should. That's the thing, is if I don't like the layout of the buttons, I can just change the layout to better suit my needs, which is something you can't do. Yeah, they're too. I keep hitting the exit key. But it works, even with a nice modern cable box. Info, exit. Couldn't be better. And of course these side buttons here, they're pre-programmed, or I programmed them to control the cable box and the volume on the home theater box down there, which is exactly what we needed, what I needed. So I can't be happier. So it crashes every once in a while. Such is life. Made in Belgium. They make great chocolates and they make even better remotes. So let's just shut her down. We're going to shut off the receiver and the TV. Awesome.